now in this class, we'll see about the Kubernetes services. So basically, we will start with the what is the Kubernetes services and why we need it and some of the types of the Kubernetes services which we have. So we will see all those information in this particular class. So let's start with the Kubernetes services and why we need it. So basically, you may have, like me, not me, like you have heard about the pods. What is pods and how it is created and how it is replicated, how it is deleted. Everything we have covered this. So whenever you create a pod, whenever you run an application or a containerized application in a pod, so that time what happens? Like sometimes you see like some pods may get deleted. Okay, some pods may be created. Some with application is there. So at that time, whenever something happens, if suppose some new pod is creating, then at that time a new IP is generated. Okay, and suppose one pod is deleted, then that pod is deleted, and at that place one new pod is replaced. Like if that pod is replaced with a new one, then that time also a new pod or new IP address is created. Okay. So, to running the application, like all those things, like it will be very tedious to manage all these things. Okay, so that's why Kubernetes services came into it. What happens whenever you create a service, so it assigns a unique or the separate IP address to that, and everyone will communicate with that IP address. Okay, using that IP address, they can communicate easily between them. Okay. So here you can see the definition which we have, like in Kubernetes, the service in abstraction layer. Why abstraction layer? Because like whenever an external user will come and request, so he will not be able to see how pods are running and what are the applications are running in that pods and how things are going on. So that's why it's like an abstraction layer, like hidden part. Okay, if you have heard about the OOPS concept, then you can relate it to that. Like the whatever the working should be the hidden. That's why it's the abstraction layer we have here. Okay. So now moving forward, here you can see like it provides a stable network endpoint for accessing the applications and ensuring that they can reliably discover and communicate with each other. So all these things which I discussed now. And the important thing which we have here is labels and selector. What is labels and selector? So these are nothing but these are used to identify the pods. Okay, whenever we get the request from the external or any application or within the cluster, so that time it is important to identify for which pod that request is coming for. So that time we use the level and selector. So we assign label to each pod. Okay. So as you can see, we have assigned a app A to all these pods, and we have selected as this. So suppose if request come for A, then it will redirect to any of these pods. Okay. If we are using load balancer, then it can direct to any of these pods. Okay. So this is the concept of labels and selectors. Now moving forward, which we have is the Kubernetes types, like not types, Kubernetes services types. Okay. So the first service which we have is cluster IP. What is this? So it basically is just nothing but it is the default one. Whenever we create a service, then the default IP is assigned to each node and okay. So here you can see what is the definition which we have. Like it's a default type in service. It exposes the service on a cluster internal. So basically it provides us the internal IP address. Okay. So here you can see that is only reachable within the cluster, and it enables communication between different pods within the same cluster. So whenever they like it is created, like for each pod a new IP address is assigned. Okay. So you can see an example if we have, like an example could be a database service that should only be accessed by other services within the cluster. Okay. So this is about the cluster IP. Moving forward, which we have is a node pod. So what is node pod? Node pod is very important, very, very important. So node pod service, what happens in this case, like currently, which you saw ever with the cluster IP, with that what is happening? We are just able to access the application or reports can only within the cluster, not outside that. So to access the application outside the cluster, what we need is the node pod service. So with this, you can simply access the application from your browser. Okay. So here, how things are working. Suppose this is the in our cluster, we have some nodes, and it assigns some posts to that particular all the nodes. Okay, and based on that levels and selector, whenever the traffic comes to that node, so it can just based on the nodes, based on levels and selector, it just redirects the traffic to that particular application. So here you can see read all these things about. And also one more important thing here we have, that is for the nodes, for the post which you have, that only port which can be assigned is between the 30,000 to 32,767. That is the range in which only the post can be assigned. Okay. So this was about the node point, and the next one which we have, that is the basic one, that is the load balancer, which everyone is aware of maybe. Like load balancer is nothing but they basically used to manage the load. Suppose there are so many traffic, suppose they do so many traffic, like usually you have 1,000 traffic, okay, but suddenly it increases it to 1,500. So at that time what will happen? At that time it will just redirect the load to different applications. Okay, like suppose pod 1 is handling 500 users, this one is handling 500, this one is handling 500 users. Okay, or this one is handling 200 and this one is handling 600. Then in that case, this is on this server or on this pod there is low load. Okay, so then what happened? The load balancer will just transfer the load to this particular pod. Okay, you can just read this definition what we have here. Like this service type assigns an external IP address to the service. It distributes the incoming traffic across multiple nodes. Okay, that's the thing which we have covered. Like here you can see, for instance, if you have a web application, a load balancer service can distribute the incoming web request across multiple ports running the application. So with that load balancer, we will have the feature of scalability and redundancy. And last one which you have is external limits, nothing but the alias name. Okay, suppose some service is there and which you don't want to expose it to the externally. So at that time you can use external lim, like it will just, suppose you want to use www.google.com and you can just assign to add my search engine. Okay, so this is the concept of external server. You can read this type of server used to provide a alias or redirect to an external service outside of the cluster. It allows you to use Kubernetes service to refer to an external service by its DNS name. Okay. So example, you can see you can create an external service called this, that points to this. Okay. So it's just like alias. Okay. So that's all for today, and I hope you understood it. If you have any query, you can ask this below in the comment section. So that's it for today, and I'll meet you in the next video. Thank you for watching.